Hello, I'm Caroline McCarthy, and this is part of a series of videos where I'm trying to introduce you to my new novel, A Home for Moira. Now, I'd like to tell you a little bit about where we shot the cover and how that happened. I'm going to hold it up a little closer so you can see a little more detail. You'll notice that there is a woman on the front cover who resembles me, and in fact it is me. You'll also notice the highly coloured blue dress. I purchased the main body fabric of this dress on eBay, and the buyer description said, the seller description said that it was pale blue. So I opened the box to be confronted with that very vivid and strong sky blue, and my first thought was, However, the fabric itself, which is gabardine, was of very good quality and went together beautifully. There's 4 days dressmaking in the costume, I might add, with no pattern. You may also notice, if you've got a very keen eye, that I'm wearing a blonde wig. I had no choice about that, because when I looked at that very strong colour, I thought I really do need to ensure that it balances in some way with that colour. And so Lady Moira, being blonde, I had to be blonde as well, and I had to choose the colour of wig quite particularly. As a lace maker, I hope you'll like my choice of parasol. We shot the cover, front and back, which I think is a particularly lovely photo as well, in Bathurst's Makati Park. I always go to say machete, and if you see the spelling of it, you'll understand why. And I have to keep thinking to myself, Makati. And I was delighted to find out later, after shooting the novel cover there, that it was named for a woman who lived in Bathurst who was particularly keen to advance young women and girls in that area. So, the best time for shooting a novel cover, photo shooting, anything really, is very early in the morning. So very early in the morning in winter, we set off in full costume for Bathurst Makati Park. As I was walking up to the park, there were a number of catcalls and whistles from early motorists. They must have had a smile for their day. And we were very fortunate that it was very foggy that morning, and indeed we were able to shoot until about 9 o'clock in the morning. At about 8:30, the newspaper journalist and photographer arrived and took some photos, and we were very happy to have that sort of coverage. But before that, we took all the photos we needed. If you can imagine having set off for the park at about 6, and by the time the journalist was finished at about 8:30, I was frozen stiff. I was so cold. My youngest son, who at that time was about 13, had kindly volunteered to come and hold coats and bibs and bobs, and generally be the picker-upper. And when I run a slideshow, when I'm doing a presentation live, you'll see this very disgruntled sort of young boy standing there arms full of goodness knows what in the freezing cold, and he is rugged up very thoroughly, and I'm just in this frock. Although you can't see it in great detail on the covers, the frock itself is just a simple day dress, but being blue, that speaks to how much money Lady Moira had, because blue's an unstable dye and was then, and to have blue and to have it looking nice meant that you had the money to change gowns frequently, to have it laundered well, and to get a new one when it started to fade. While we were doing the photo shoot, the gardeners and outdoor staff from Bathurst Regional Council began to arrive. And I have to say they were quite delighted that someone was using their park in that particular way. And with the wonders of modern technology, we were able to go to my husband's camera, my husband was my able photographer, and look back through photos already taken. And one fellow with an interest in photography came up and had a look through the different photos, and I said to him, I'm supposed to look about 22. What do you think? He scrolled through a few and he said, oh yes, 21 on a good day. So we were quite delighted about that. When we finally got back to breakfast, and I'm pleased to say it was a full cooked breakfast. Yes, we were frozen, but we knew at the time we had some good shots. And in fact, I really believed right from the outset that that shot would end up being the best for the front cover, and it was, but for the tiniest little detail, which is completely unescapable in our modern society, even early in the morning. If you look carefully when you get your own copy, you'll notice just at the back of the park, underneath the title, there's a car. So I hope you've enjoyed finding out more about my novel and about me as an author. There will be more videos about my up-and-coming novels, because authors always have a half a dozen novels on the go, and I'm no exception. In the meantime, I hope you'll enjoy looking at the other videos, including the ones that I intend to put together of me reading the novel.